Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. This is episode 453 of The Daily Dope. Of course, if this is the first time you've popped in to check out the show, let me point out this is very casual. This is a very casual show talking tabletop gaming. It is live. It is a live stream, so there is chat available as well. I will get into that in just a moment. But do want to point out, if you like this video, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you when the Daily Dope goes live Mondays through Thursdays, almost said Fridays because it used to be Fridays, it's Mondays through Thursdays. It'll also inform you when I upload standalone videos as well, so don't miss out on a lot of my previews and first looks and page throughs and reviews and interviews and convention coverage. Yeah, I do quite a lot of video. So anyway, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So as I mentioned, this is a live stream, so that means chat is available on YouTube. And I do want to point out it's not on screen, which is a little unusual for a lot of live streams out there. There's usually kind of a chat window that's kind of streaming past. I don't put it on screen just to keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to the chat. So if you'd like to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, maybe you've got a comment, by all means, chime in. I will respond. So far tonight, we've got Dan from No Enemies Here. Jorge Rodriguez is joining us again. A Gray Day has popped in. The Madman is in chat as well. Let me double check. Look. I think I got everybody who's saying hello today. Yes, happy Hump Day, says the Madman. Yes, Hump Day for us. Of course, if Flaming Heron pops in, we already know that they live across the pond. So it is already, I think, Thursday morning for those folks. So Gray Day says, chat is on fire. Do want to point out, a Gray Day was mentioning Mythroll, I think, wasn't that it? Mythroll yesterday. If I had checked out the Kickstarter, I did take a peek at the Kickstarter today. I will be very honest, it looks interesting. It is kind of a dice rolling mechanism. It like I said, it does look kind of interesting, but I am not going to share the news about that, and I will explain why. And it kind of falls into the same category as why I have never reviewed print and play games. That has been my policy since the moment the Gaming Gang launched. And the reason is that if I start providing coverage for one of these sorts of Kickstarter projects, then I will be inundated with every single Kickstarter project of a similar ilk. And especially like dice stuff or, like metal coin Kickstarters. Although, like I said, this Mythroll does look kind of cool. I'm not dissuading anybody from checking it out. But like I said, I just don't share news pieces about that kind of stuff, because then suddenly I'm on the hook and everybody's going to be sending me stuff along. So, and I do point that out because, once again, like the print and play, same kind of thing. I never review print and play games. For one, because I can't afford to print out all that stuff. Right? Ink is expensive. But also, it opens me up to having to, then the expectation becomes, oh, Jeff reviews print and play games. Let's send Jeff some print and play stuff. So, plus, I got to point out, and in fact, I tweeted this earlier today. I don't know where some of these companies who I have never talked to, a lot of them I've never even heard of, will crawl out of the woodwork and ask me to share their Kickstarter projects, and I tell them no. For the most part, I only share Kickstarter projects that I think look really interesting or tend to be from companies who have supported the Gaming Gang in some way over the years. Maybe they send review copies of stuff. Otherwise, once again, that puts me on the hook where everybody's Kickstarter I have to share, and I feel really weird with companies that approach me to ask me to help them make money, but they have absolutely no interest in how I stay around. It's kind of like, so one hand washes nothing. I see that Flaming Huron has popped in. There you go. Like I said, it's hump day for us. For Flaming Huron, it is Thursday morning, I do believe. Hopefully, I am in nice focus today. I've played around with my field of depth, or depth of field, whichever one you want to consider it, on the old Nikon, or as I grew up calling it, Nikon. So hopefully the background's fairly sharp, so that people can actually read what's on the boxes, but that hopefully I'm more in focus than that. So, because for some reason this camera's been wanting to make sure that, got to make sure that Warfighter's, nice and sharp back there. Who cares about Jeff? Of course, with a mug like this, I don't, necessarily want to be, 4K sharp. So before I jump into the news tonight, because I've got a good amount of news, just kind of quick news pieces tonight. Did want to mention that I read an article yesterday talking about how the ratings of Doctor Who on the BBC has dropped. And it was kind of like, so should Doctor Who fans be worried that the BBC, the Beeb, is going to pull the plug after, what is it? How many years has it been since the reboot? 15 years? So, we're talking about, it's what, a 60-year-old property? So it was kind of weird, kind of odd how it went back and forth. And they're not saying it's a Jodie Whittaker thing or anything like that, but it seems to be, I guess, the overnight ratings are good. They're kind of the same as they were under Peter Capaldi, although I got to point out the Peter Capaldi ratings took a big dive from Matt Smith. And I liked Peter Capaldi. I've liked everybody who's played the Doctor in the reboot. The only actor I was never super keen on was Peter Davidson. And he was fine. It was just Tom Baker was our doctor, right? And all of a sudden, we're watching one night on Channel 11 PBS here in Chicago. In fact, I was at Elliot Miller's house on a Sunday night when Doctor Who would air, and Tom Baker falls off that tower and changes into Peter Davidson. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Because we had never seen earlier episodes. So it was like, I think it was like 1979 or something is when we first started to get Doctor Who on PBS stations in the US. So I had started watching, and it was just Tom Baker stuff. So we were like, oh, well, we figured that's the Doctor, right? Oh, yes, we were so naive back then. Anyway, so let's see. So Jorge Rodriguez says Doctor Who does need to die. I just think it just wasn't that good, not even the reboot. All right, well, everybody's up to, has their own opinions. Whatever. Joking. Colin Baker, I think, was the worst Doctor, says A Gray Day. I gotta be honest, I was kind of off the Doctor Who wagon about the time Colin Baker was coming on. So even Sylvester McCoy, I have only seen little bits and pieces of Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who. Although he seems like he's a really interesting cat. Seems like a really interesting guy. They all do. They really all. I think Colin Baker kind of got screwed because they were hemming and hawing. Were they going to cancel Doctor Who? And then they wrote him up as this kind of like character who seemed always pissed off and with a stick up his ass or something like that. So, yes, I agree, glowing turtle Tom Baker. All the way, baby. So, and of course, as far as the reboot goes, David Tennant is pretty much my favorite Doctor. Although I gotta say, I really liked Christopher Eccleston when he was the Doctor, when he did the reboot. I thought he did a real good job. And funny enough, they made it out like he wanted to leave, and then the story has kind of turned out that they kind of treated him like shit. So he was like, "Hi," and he's like, "I would have kept doing it," but anyway, all right. So yeah, I was kind of curious about that. That we do see that the viewership, I guess, like I said, overnight is okay. It's the 7-day viewership that is down. And I guess it's down from last year because there were a lot of people who were watching who were interested in, wow, everybody's talking about a female Doctor, so got to check this out. So anyway, Jorge Rodriguez says, Eccleston is a good actor. Yeah, he is a good actor. A Great A says, I like the first 3. Yeah, See, my problem was that Stephen Moffat, I didn't think was a very good showrunner. Just didn't think so. He was terrible with female characters. Like, how many times were we going to see Karen Gillan crying on Doctor Who, right? Anyway, so the reason why I mention this is if those of you out there, it seems like I've got a lot of people in chat who are fans of Doctor Who, unlike Jorge. But and that they have followed Doctor Who and they know some of the older Doctors, like the Tom Bakers, the John Pertwees, and I gotta point out that I don't think the reboot has ever treated the Master well. I think the Master from the original series, he was, in fact, unfortunately, the original actor who portrayed the Master. I believe he had died in a car accident. I know he passed away. But they got another actor who looked almost identical and could, sound almost identical. But the Doctor was, or not the Doctor, the Master was evil. I mean, he was an evil mastermind. He wasn't some goofy, joking around, this is zany, and evil. It's like, and now, granted, I have not really had a chance to watch too much of this current season that just wrapped up of Doctor Who, outside like the first 3 episodes. But once again, they reintroduced the Master. It was a different actor. I understand he's on the finale for the season as well, I think. And it was like, hey, first of all, you've got Nazis in Doctor Who, which is like, whoa, don't see that too often. And then they throw in this oddball character who's like, oh, I'm the Master. Whoa. Like, come on, man. Make him evil and, like, oh, man, this episode's got the Master in it. Ooh. As opposed to, shit. It's another take on the Master. Give me a break. So, Hubcam 210 has popped in. So asking about the Doctor Who movie where the Doctor was played by Peter Cushing. There are actually 2 films starring Peter Cushing as the Doctor, who's kind of a scientist. And I gotta be honest, I have never seen him. Never seen him. I know the Daleks are in one of them, because the Daleks were a big deal. I wonder if they brought okay, nobody spoil it, because I was gonna say, I wonder if the Daleks are in this season. Because I know they had mentioned they were trying to put the Daleks on ice for a bit. That seemed like they were overusing the Daleks. So the Madman says, hey, Jorge, you're not completely alone. I don't dislike it. I just haven't ever watched it. You know, I know there are a lot of people out there who are like, oh man, I can't stand old Doctor Who because the special effects are so bad. So, and it was funny because they used to do stuff like if you were supposed to be like mesmerized or something like that, they would actually paint eyes on your eyelids. And it was just, that is true. Special effects were pretty lame, but it's a fun show. All right, enough pontificating about the Doctor. Let's jump on into the news. Figured I'd spend a little time just chatting before we jump in, because like I said, I got some news, but it's not super in-depth stuff tonight. Anyway, yesterday I was talking about Godzilla Tokyo Clash, which is coming from Funko Games. And I had mentioned Funko seems to have focused on, at least a current focus, is on games that are not necessarily pop related. Well, there's another one. It's arriving in June, and it is Back to the Future. Back in time. Here's a wee bit of dope. Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean? The photo of the McFly family is slowly fading. It's 1955, and you're wrapped up in a time paradox with Biff, Lorraine, George, and Doc Brown. Cooperate to move around Hill Valley to get the DeLorean ready. Avoid Biff and his gang, help George and Lorraine fall in love, and crank the DeLorean up to 88 miles per hour, all just in time for the lightning to strike the clock tower, sending you back to the future. In the fully cooperative game Back to the Future, Back in Time, each player takes on the role of a major character from the movie. Marty McFly, Doc Brown, Jennifer Parker, or Einstein the dog. Einstein the dog. Zoinks. The objective of this game is to have the characters move around 1955 Hill Valley, collecting certain items in an effort to fix Doc's famous DeLorean time machine, defeat Biff Tannen, damn you, Biff Tannen, and his gang of troublemaking friends, while ensuring that Marty's parents fall in love. Only when that is accomplished can players then accelerate the DeLorean to 88 miles per hour down Main Street before the clock tower strikes 10:04 p.m. Back to the Future, Back in Time is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. It'll play in around 50 minutes. I don't know why companies just don't say an hour. Are we that like uptight about, oh my gosh, I don't have an hour to play a game? But it does play in around 50 minutes. It will carry an MSRP of $30 when it arrives in June. Do want to point out that I don't know if this is going to be an exclusive or not. Remember we were talking last night that Godzilla Tokyo Clash, which I just keep wanting to like start singing Clash songs whenever I say that. Tokyo calling. Anyway, that is going to be an exclusive for Target stores, and that is arriving, I believe if I remember right, isn't that a June release as well? And it's either June or July. And then other retailers will receive the game in October. So it is an exclusive for a certain amount of time to Target, or Target, as we always jokingly call it. I wonder if this is going to be similar, because this strikes me as something that would be an exclusive, or at least for a certain amount of time, maybe like a Walmart exclusive, especially with that MSRP of $30. So I'm kind of curious. This could be a fun game. I gotta say, Funko Games has quite a few titles that are on the horizon. I will be sharing what info I have about them, because they do look, like I said, pretty interesting. Next one I'll talk about tomorrow, and unfortunately there isn't a ton of information out there, is called Pan Am. And you're actually going to try to like lead an airlines kind of in the golden age of airline travel and compete with Pan Am. thought that was pretty cool. I figured that was pretty wild. So I will talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Unfortunately, all I've been able to find so far is the box cover artwork. So we don't know. So Flaming Heron says, I got dibs on the dog. He gets the easiest job in the movie. And Jorge Rodriguez points out that dog player is so out of left field. I thought that too. The Sharif don't like it. Rock the Casbah. There we go. Yes, that is exactly what it was. So Flaming Heron says, I figure that's the deal these days, Jeff. Timed exclusives seem to be becoming the norm. Could be. I don't know. Grade 8 says, I can skip the nostalgia board games based on old movies. Well, let's be honest here. Most games that have some sort of licensing tie-in to a movie are pretty bad. They usually are pretty damn bad. A lot of them are just roll and move. But there have been some that are actually pretty cool. Pretty good. For an example, the USAopoly, which I guess they're called the OP, that Avengers Thanos game, that was pretty good. There's another game as well that's from, now it's from Mondo Games, but it was originally I want to say it was through USAopoly as well. The Thing, which is based on The Thing, that's actually pretty good as well. So, Dan from No Enemies here has a rock on out. Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for popping in. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night up there in Canada. Boo-hoo. All right, moving right along. Next news piece. Coming soon from Portal Games is $1 Million Script. You thought I was going to say Slumdog Millionaire. $1 Million Script. I've got the dope. Portal Games is happy to announce $1 Million Script, a new 45-minute party game for 3 to 10 players, ages 14 and up. $1 Million Script takes place in a lavish Hollywood office. Players first pick a studio executive who will judge screenplays and then split into 2 competing teams of screenwriters. During 5 rounds of the game, the teams pitch their finest, most preeminent ideas to a studio executive, creating a continuous story. Both teams are working on the same movie, and each round, the executive picks the pitch they prefer, which then becomes a part of the shared storyline. After 5 rounds, victory points are totaled up, and the winning team can enjoy its victory. In every game, the studio executive will challenge screenwriters with different expectations of the perfect hero and his villain counterpart. What do you mean, his villain counterpart? Couldn't it be her villain counterpart? Awfully sexist there, Portal. There are also several film genres the screenplay can cover, and studio executives might have a hidden preference in what they like in their movies. $1 Million Script is a hilarious duel of creativity. I hate when companies say their games are hilarious, because that is a word that is overused. Literally overused. Just like literally. It is a hilarious duel of creativity, improvising, and acting skills with exceptionally high player interaction and role-playing elements. It is yet another great example for board games that tell stories. I would certainly think so, because it's telling a story. $1 Million Script is for 3 to 10 players, as mentioned before, ages 14 and up, plays in around 45 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $20 when it makes its premiere. Get it? Like movie premiere? At Gen Con this August. Ha ha ha. Well, So Glowing Turtle says, need more games that aren't associated with movie franchises like, The Drifter, which is available in PDF at DriveThruRPG. And I still have yet to get a chance to really dig into it. Sorry, Glowing Turtle. I promise I will. Moving right along, hitting stores in July are the pre-painted Starfighter battle sets, at least 2 of them, from Paizo Inc. and WizKids. I've got a teeny bit of dope about them. Set thousands of years in Pathfinder's future, Starfinder is a science fantasy role-playing game designed to bring you a whole new universe of adventure. Play alien races both new and familiar as you explore the mysteries of an ever-expansive galaxy. Will you be an android operative fulfilling corporate contracts, or a plucky Yusogi mechanic, a spell-hacking Lashunta technomancer, or a rakish human pilot? Han Solo, anyone? Countless worlds are waiting for you and your intrepid crew. The world of Starfinder puts you and your friends in the role of a ragtag starship crew, exploring the mysteries of a weird science fantasy universe. Each of these sets contains 6 miniatures that represent characters from the Starfinder universe. First 2 releases are titled Heroes and Monsters. No points for originality there, WizKids. Each is going to contain 6 pre-painted miniatures. They're going to carry an MSRP of $34.99. I gotta say, I always think that the pre-paints from WizKids, at least the photography they share of them, always makes them look really, really well done. I have seen some of the pre-paints at Origins, but that was about 3 years ago, and I do think their pre-paints have gotten better, especially with there's a little bit more shading to them. Sometimes I see them and I think, I would maybe do a little bit of a wash on some portions of them, but for the most part, they look pretty sweet. One thing I do want to point out, I think there are people out there who think Starfinder Battles is like a miniature system for Starfinder. That's not the case as far as I know. It's like Pathfinder Battles, where these are simply pre-painted miniatures for Starfinder in this case. So, A Great A says, how about The Fog? I have not played a board game based on The Fog. I remember that John Carpenter film. One thing I always like about John Carpenter films, he would write the soundtracks for them, and John Carpenter movies all seem to have kind of a bum 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 kind of like underlying music to them. Always liked his kind of almost like techno style soundtracks to his movies. I just happen to be a John Carpenter fan. He seems like he's a pretty cool dude. So, our next news story, Modiphius Entertainment and Helmgast AB have announced a new role-playing game for this summer. It's going to have a Kickstarter next month. I've got the dope on The Troubleshooters. Helmgast AB proudly presents The Troubleshooters, a new action-adventure tabletop role-playing game in the style of Franco-Belgian comics. Imagine a world where you travel the world, kind of redundant, like Tintin, unmask heinous villains like Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang. So are Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang the heinous villains? Or are they unmasking heinous villains? Unravel mysteries like Nancy Drew. Do heists like Carmen Sandiego. Wouldn't it be pull-off heists? I know. Obviously, this was not originally written in English, because I do believe this company is a Swedish role-playing game company. Anyway, stop evil masterminds like Spiro and Fantasio. Solve crimes like the Saint, and even catch spies like the Man from U.N.C.L.E. That's the world of the Troubleshooters. Boy, it is a mashup of a lot of styles, isn't it? In the Troubleshooters, the characters are drawn into other people's problems and band together to solve them, ranging from athletes and explorers to journalists and mad scientists. Wasn't he a journalist? Wasn't Tintin a reporter? Although I think he's supposed to be like 15 years old. Explore exotic locations, glittering metropoles, lost temples, or valleys that time forgot, and face spies, wild beasts, mafia villains, and the nefarious Graf von Zadrith, the leader of the secret organization, the Octopus. Written by Christer Sunderland, author of the acclaimed Swedish role-playing games Yarn, which I think is Iron, and I have no idea how to pronounce it. The Troubleshooters takes you back to the mid-1960s in a world of fast-paced adventure and fun. The Troubleshooters core book will be the first in a line of products for the game, together with the adventure The U-Boat Mystery, followed by adventures and background books. The text for the core book is already written, and it has been playtested for a year and a half, and the text for the first adventure is almost complete. The Troubleshooters is planned for release in the summer of 2020 in English and French, with a crowdfunding campaign starting April 7th. Modiphius Entertainment will be handling the distribution of the English edition into retail stores from the autumn of 2020. Arcane Asylum, it is not Arkham Asylum, it is Arcane Asylum, will translate the Troubleshooters to French. There is no word on a page count or what the pledge levels or anything like that is, but once I know more about this with the Troubleshooters, you will know as well. This looks pretty interesting. And I can see from the artwork some of the artwork, there is a bit of an influence, at least from my experience. I'm not the biggest Tintin expert out there, but there is kind of a vibe there because I'm almost positive. Like I said, I don't know that much. I mean, I think I read some Tintin way long ago. But if I remember right, isn't Tintin Belgian? I'm positive. I'm pretty sure it's not French. I'm almost positive it's Belgian. So, but I do realize that Tintin was very popular in France as well. Still popular here in the U.S. A Great A says, I'm still waiting for that Johnny Quest RPG. Yes. If we do the original Johnny Quest, that'd be pretty cool. So Great Ace says we need a Prince of Darkness board game. Yes, work on that one from John Carpenter. So Great Ace say, hey, you could work in some Lupin the Third and Troubleshooters as well. So yeah, this looks pretty interesting. So, Flaming Heron says, if you follow the comics compared to the TV series to the movie, it's hard to follow. Is it hard to follow the comics? Because, I don't know. I seem to recall that it wasn't too difficult. But, like I said, I mean, luckily, of course, I was reading translated. Well, I wasn't reading them in, Belgian or French. So, Kabuki Kid has popped into chat. Good to see you, Double K. Hopefully you got my email because I had already sent a link out, but I sent a link again for the winning entry in the contest, which, strangely enough, gotta say, I'm on the verge of 2,200 subscribers now. We just turned around and celebrated the 2,100, and right now I think I'm 14 or 16 subscribers away from 2,200. So that's pretty cool. My final news piece, available in PDF from Stygian Fox Publishing, is a new adventure for Call of Cthulhu. I've got the dope on Under a Winter's Snow. Under a Winter's Snow is a one-night scenario for the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game published by Chaosium Inc., edited by Chitin Proctor, and written by Nathan Ross, with art by Simon Brake, Badger McGinnis, and Stephanie McAlley. I think that's how Stephanie's name is pronounced. Not positive. Taking its inspirational cues from Slender Man, Contagion, Who Goes There, The Thing, which we were just talking about, and Fargo, the book takes a mature look at the horror of human nature and its ability to shirk from disease, the afflicted, and the causes thereof. Well, talking about disease, huh? The scenarios deal with unavoidable fates, dark secrets, and seriously bad choices made by the antagonists. As so often is the case, there are no winners when fate has trapped you in a dice game for doom or destiny. As such, please be aware that some of the themes are quite mature and are suitable for gamers who are at least young adult age and maturity. The 20-page one-shot adventure is available in PDF at Drive-Thru RPG for $7.95. Sweet. I know that I always talk about, wow, some of these PDFs, the prices of them is just kind of ridiculous. And I got to be honest, $8 for a 20-page PDF. But on the flip side of that, I also have to point out Stygian Fox does really good adventures, especially if you like modern. If you like a nice dose of modern horror role-playing for your Call of Cthulhu. Anyway, I was talking about that's available at Drive-Thru RPG. Of course, the Daily Dope is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites, which of course means that thegaminggang.com is affiliated. So if you are going to visit any of the One Bookshelf sites, like Drive-Thru RPG or War Games Vault, or maybe you're heading over to DM's Guild. If so, please swing over to thegaminggang.com, click on one of our banners, and that way if you do make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And that little portion helps keep the Gaming Gang website around. Plus, I do want to mention, still got the Game Master sale going on. It's GM's Day sale. Now, GM's Day is long over. I believe we still got about a week left in that. And there are some really, really good deals available as well. So, Flaming Heron says, I need to say, do it. So, a great A's like, thumbs up. That's right. Everybody click on the thumbs up, right? So Great A says, FYI, the FFG RPGs all got moved to a Spanish division of Asmodee, which was announced today at Gamma. That actually brings me to a couple of things I can talk about real quick, because we still got a few minutes. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, Stygian Fox is fantastic. Really happy with their latest bundle. Yeah, they had a really nice bundle of holding. They really, really did. So the Madman says, the drive-thru wish list is empty. Thank you very much for swinging over and using our banner ads to go through. So Great A says, it was not just the people. Oh, I'm sorry, not the people, just the products and IP. Well, I assume that. Certainly assume that. So there's a few things Asmodee has announced at Gamma. This was not something that I was aware of. Okay, so first of all, let me point out, because I have had people asking, how come I'm not at Gamma? And it's sort of like, well, I only went once to Gamma. That was back when it was in Vegas. And that was back when it was actually not open to the media. So it was effectively Dice Tower, ICV2, and us. That's the only ones who were there covering the show. And in fact, it was oh my gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. It wasn't Tom, it was his co-host. His co-host on the Dice Tower. I can't believe I'm zoning out on who it is. See, that's just how much I follow everybody else. But yeah, that was it. And then they moved it to, and I have friends who live in Vegas, so if I wanted to go out there to cover it, I wouldn't have to pay for a hotel. They moved it to Reno, and I know one person who lives about an hour outside of Reno, and I gotta be honest, sorry anybody who spends a lot of time in downtown Reno. I'm not talking about the city outside of downtown. I'm talking about where all the major casinos and stuff are. Downtown Reno's kind of a shithole. So I've been there, and I mean the sun goes down and you're kind of like, ooh, I really don't want to be on the streets here, which of course on the strip in Vegas or even downtown Vegas is not the case. So I would love to be out in Gamma because there's a lot going on. I just don't like the location, and what can I tell you? But it's funny because I have actually gotten some emails from people thinking that I was going to be there. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Anyway, a couple of announcements from now I'm sitting here trying to remember who is the co-host on the Dice Tower. It's one of those days, huh? It's Wacky Wednesday, I guess. So A Great A says, I'll use Jeff's banner for the new Ironsworn Delve release this weekend. Cool deal. Thank you. And of course, don't forget, Ironsworn, the core game, is absolutely free. I did talk about that game last night, too. Tales of the Elder Days, which is another fantasy role-playing game. Like 420-page PDF, very professionally done. It's pay what you want. And they even say right there in the description, it's absolutely free. So don't feel bad that you put 0. But I shared some images from the PDF. Pretty impressive looking. Looks pretty crunchy, though. Anyway, so there were a couple announcements from Asmodee. First off, Asmodee's getting into distribution in the United States, which they do distribution in Europe. Haven't done the United States because I believe Asmodee mainly works through Alliance, which Alliance is the biggest. It's kind of the major mover and shaker as far as distribution of games. Just like Diamond is as far as comics. So they are going to do distribution, and I guess their deal is going to be that stores are going to have an opportunity to either buy directly from Asmodee or continue to go through Alliance. So there is that change in the business model for Asmodee North America. The other is there was an announcement that the prices of many Asmodee games will increase 10 to 20%. They did release a kind of a lineup of which games are going to go up in price. Arkham Horror is one of them. Catan releases are going up. Pandemic is going up. So, like I said, between 10 and 20%. And they also pointed out that it's not because of the trade war with China, that has nothing to do with it. Tariffs have nothing to do with their price increase. So I assume what they're trying to say is we just figure we're going to just charge you more and you can pay for it. So, Kabuki Kid says this is their move to start taking over distribution in the States. Yeah, exactly. We know something's up with Asmodee because of the goings-on with Fantasy Flight Games. If you are not aware of this, Plaid Hat Games, Colby Dosh? I know first name is Colby. Actually purchased the company back from Asmodee, so they are not part of Asmodee any longer. Although, strangely enough, Asmodee will retain the rights to like Dead of Winter and Stuffed Fables, and it's kind of like, okay. I don't know what the deal was with that. That just struck me as there being some bad blood, even though it was like, oh, we've enjoyed working with their... I don't know. Just got the impression there was some bad blood there. So of course, now Plaid Hat Games is its own entity again. So yeah, we're seeing some strange stuff. Kabuki Kid says, I miss the old FFG. The everything designed by Corey Knizia FFG. I used to buy their games almost automatically. So yes, and there's no parts replacement department anymore. Yes, that's correct. That is something else that Asmodee pointed out. That if you have a problem, if you're missing pieces, return the game to your retailer. Don't bother them. Don't know what to tell you. Hey, when you're, the Borg, you can do whatever you want. Gotta just, assimilate everybody out there. Like everybody used to call Hasbro Hasborg. Although, I gotta be honest, I've never had any problems with Hasbro or the folks that do PR for them. So, Kabuki Kid says, Corey K is a favorite of mine. And, okay, so it's funny. We got to chat with Corey in Chicago. He was at like a bar. He was kind of doing like a presentation. There were about 30 people there. And we went, and then this is back when Elliot was part of the gaming gang. He went up to is it Rosewood or something like that, Minnesota, where Fantasy Flight Games is located. They've actually got kind of like that like, gaming area in that. So we went for this like Lovecraft weekend and interviewed Corey, and they took a photo together. And just the way Corey is, he's like showing something off, and he's kind of like scooched down a little bit, like, you know, and we got all these comments saying, how come Corey Kenichi looks like a gnome? And worse things than that. I was like, dude, it's it was just the way he was standing. So is Jamie S. I assume you're talking about Jamie Stegmaier. I assume that's who you're talking about. So I have not really had a chance to talk to Jamie in a long time. I think the last game from Stonemaier Games that I did a review of was Viticulture. I think it was a Viticulture expansion that they did. And then once again, when I went from Arizona back here to the Midwest, a lot of things fell apart. A lot of companies that I was working with, even though nothing changed as far as the gaming gang, just kind of fell apart. Don't know. So it says, don't buy games at a con. Don't buy games as a gift. So, I don't know. Sometimes buying games at a con isn't a bad deal. If you're getting a good deal on the games. Because sometimes you can get a better deal at conventions, especially from retailers. So, although I gotta admit, Amazon's a good location to get the games from as well. Let's see, anything else? There was something else that just popped in my head and I forgot what it was going to be. Something else, kind of like inside baseball about the gaming hobby that I noticed today, but I forget what it was. Oh, so Kabuki Kid says, I mean from Asmodee, because yeah. Return it to the retailer. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. It's getting to the point where some companies, it falls in the same category where, because a lot of times when I talk about a game, like I'll go, oh, hey, blah, 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 just like, for an example, yes, I still have not received Explorer's Guide to Windamount. So it's supposed to be on its way. But so remember, I'm going to be doing the first look at the 12th Doctor, and I think I'm going to also do just a page through, just for laughs, of the 4th Doctor book, even though it's been out for quite a while. So I like to always say, oh, and of course, the MSRP is blah, blah, blah. And I have noticed you can get it online for as low as blah, blah, blah. People get upset about that. They're like, oh, you shouldn't be telling people to buy games online. You should tell them to go to their friendly local game store. Well, which is fine. It's just not everybody has a friendly local game store. There are some local game stores which really aren't friendly and probably don't deserve your business, but you go to them because they're the only one around. So I'm all for, buying locally and keeping your local businesses around if they deserve your business. But I mean, there's some game stores out there you walk into and it's like, they wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. You walk in the door, it's like, nobody even looks up. Nobody even says hello to you. So, anyway, but I like to always, point out, okay, so if you can save a few bucks buying it from an online retailer or whoever, I never say who it is that I saw has the best deal on it, because I don't get a cut out of any of those. I don't want people to think that, I'm affiliated with anybody like that either. So, Flaming Heron says, yeah, and some people see cheaper as a more important determiner for buying games. I agree. And there is still all that discussion of people getting priced out of the hobby. So I'll tell you one thing, and then we will wrap up. So as far as, and that's another big thing we hear a lot about. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. Let me finish my line of thought, and then I'll finish up with the other thing. So I was going to say, a lot of people talking about, wow, I'm getting priced out of the hobby, and we're not open to all these different people who may not be as economically flush with cash. Everybody I know who's a gamer, we're lucky we got a couple of nickels to rub together that we can go buy a game. And that's why I don't review a lot of games that I don't get as a review copy, because I can't afford it. I can barely afford doing this. So but I'll tell you one hobby that you cannot possibly be priced out of, and that is role-playing games. Because if you look at the amount of gaming material you get, and like I said before, Kenneth Haidt and I had a conversation about role-playing games and things like that over pizza with John Zinser from AEG. And Ken said, hey, you know what? If you want to make money in this industry, you don't get into role-playing games, because you put together a good role-playing game, somebody just needs to buy your core book once. That's it. I mean, you've given them all they need for decades of entertainment. And that's how I kind of look at it. Plus, when you take a peek at, say, like Drive-Thru RPG, we've been talking about different game systems tonight. We talked about 2 that are absolutely free. They're absolutely free to download. So you're getting free entertainment. So what do you got to do? Go buy some dice. Worst case scenario, get a dice app. You got a free dice apps you can put on your phone. So anyway, so I do want to point that out. So here was the other thing that I was like, oh yeah, I couldn't remember. So the nominees for the Origins Awards came out, and I have not played a single one of them. I was like, what? I mean, usually there's some titles that I have not played. Not a one. In fact, and I'm looking at them. I will probably post the nominees probably tomorrow. They'll go up tomorrow, maybe later on tonight. Depends on what I'm doing. And out of all of them, I've seen the PDF for the Alien role-playing game. And of course, I do have the core rulebook for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. That's it. All the board games, all the card games, all the historical games, all the historical miniatures games, all the miniatures games, everything that's nominated, I have not played. And we're talking about, so there's no AEG. There's one nomination for AEG, and that was for basically a port over to digital. I think it was Mystic Vale. They're nominated for that. That's it. That's what they're nominated for. Not for any board games, anything like that. Stonemaier games, right? Wingspan, which I have not played. I'll be the first to say I haven't played it. But people are nuts about that game. I don't have any nomination. Historical games, GMT games, no nomination. Flying Pig games, which I would assume they're not going to throw Mark Walker a bone anyway. No nomination. I was like, Ares Games, no nomination. All these small companies, and I'm not knocking these little publishers that maybe I've not heard of, or maybe they're not as small as I think they are. But it was sort of like, there were like the historical miniatures category has 2 nominees, and they're both bolt action from Warlord Games, which I reviewed the original bolt action. And I think it's a good skirmish system, but you got 2 nominees, and it's basically the same exact company. You've got nominees out there that it's just a new edition or a reprint of a game that's been out for a while. Seriously? You couldn't find some new stuff out there? I mean, there's lots of new games. I thought it was crazy. Yes, Conflict of Heroes is on there, and that is a new print run of that. It's a new print run. that game was out. So, yes, third edition. Thanks, a great A. Yeah, how do these games get nominated? I don't know. I think it's through the organizers. Now, as far as voting on them, voting is open to the public. You can vote on the Gamma Awards. And of course, if I wanted to, I could vote on them and stuff like that. I'm not a member of Gamma, obviously enough. But yeah, I thought, wow, take a look at the Origins Awards nominees. And although it was funny, and I tweeted this, I was like, And Tim from, Thunderworks or something like that. I want to say they do Role Player, which was, I heard a lot of buzz about at Origins a couple of years ago. I guess they did kind of a card game for it. So that's up there. Like I said, I am not knocking the nominees. It's just sort of like, I haven't played a single one of these games. That's bizarre. So wasn't Over the Edge a card game like Magic? I don't know. I gotta be honest. Over the Edge has always been a role-playing game as far as I know from Atlas. It's kind of one of their big games. Anyway, I just wanted to float that out. I thought the nominees were kind of either the nominees are whacked or I just do not have my pulse on anything gaming-wise anymore. I don't know. Don't know what I can tell you. All right, so that's it for tonight's show. Just sitting around here kind of shooting the shit. So, of course, if you like the video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you do so. Be sure to ring that bell because it will not only notify you when the Daily Dope streams live Mondays through Thursdays, it will also tell you when my standalone videos get uploaded as well, including my upcoming Doctor Who source book for the 12th Doctor page through. And hopefully, by the end of the week, fingers crossed, the Dungeons & Dragons Explorer's Guide to Wildemont. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody hanging out in chat. Thank you very much for keeping me company on this Wednesday evening / Thursday morning for some folks out there. And of course, if you watch this after the fact, even maybe on Memorex, thank you very much as well. I really appreciate anybody taking some time out to watch me just prattle on about things. I will be back tomorrow, so everybody enjoy the rest of your evening / morning. And of course, until then, happy trails. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.